Very good evening and welcome to Wolves TV and our coverage this evening of the Premier League 2 derby. Wolves against Birmingham City. We are hoping for a good performance from James Collins' team tonight, having fought back well to get a draw against Swansea on Friday afternoon at St George's Park in the Premier League Cup. Hopefully a big performance and a result tonight would be oh so impressive. There's plenty of changes as well tonight. We will run you through the two teams very shortly. But as you can imagine, with the first team being in action on Thursday night, there is no Luke Condell and no Chem Campbell. And as you can hear, there are quite a few supporters in tonight. This stadium, of course, was absolutely rocking at the weekend. And Kidderminster took on West Ham in the FA Cup fourth round. Not quite the same illustrious occasion. I can see Birmingham City are in the tunnel. And I'm going to introduce, we have a co-commentator for this evening, former Wolves women defender and Matchday Live extra regular Claire Hakeman is alongside me. Claire, I know you're a regular watcher of the under-23s, and it's a fascinating stage, isn't it, to see young players who are trying to impress, trying to make their way in the game, go out there and put on a show. There we go. Hopefully you should be able to hear Claire now. Hello to you, Claire.
I'm back in the game. Yeah, looking forward to this one tonight. I think Wolves have got a pretty strong squad out as well, and obviously a lot of the players will be thinking and pushing on for getting those places on the bench for the first team as well. So it should be a really exciting encounter tonight.
Well, Wolves having made quite a couple of changes from the side that was there on Friday, including the return of Andreas Sondergaard in goal. He is officially on loan at Hereford, but because it is non-league, he is allowed to come back and play, so that may well happen on more than one occasion this season.
Harvey Griffis.
Also Taylor Perry returning to the lineup, having been out on loan at Cheltenham this season. Unfortunately picked up an injury that curtailed his year there, but he is a hugely talented midfielder, 20 years of age now. He's been around the shake-up for quite a long time. This will be his 42nd under-23 appearance. This gives you an idea of the numbers.
Yeah, I mean, he competed really well in pre-season, didn't he? I think he was there or thereabouts to be, you know, to be kept on. But he's done fantastically well at Cheltenham. I know reports of people that have seen him play. He was getting man of the matches frequently. So I'm really excited to see him play tonight and see how he gets on.
So all the players will take a knee to the applause inside Aggborough Stadium. And it will be Blues to get us underway on Derby night at Aggborough. A big night for some of these Wolves players. They fought so hard to beat Blues at St Andrews earlier in the season. Blues were down to 10 men after only 10 minutes of the game. They've had plenty of changes to their under-23 setup this season. A guilty man on that occasion, Duncan Iden, has moved on in January. Quite a few players have moved on. A few of their more senior operatives as well, though they are, as regular under-23 watchers won't be surprised to know, are older than Wolves, who despite having Sondergaard and Taylor Perry in today, still are younger by average age. This is Marcel Oakley trying to run down that right-hand side. As you can probably hear, there's a bit more of a vocal crowd than maybe they'll be used to, and that'll be something interesting for both sets of players to get to grips with.
I think that'll be fantastic, won't it? It's a local derby, and I've no doubt people have seen the game advertised, and you know, everybody's tempted to come and watch a derby because there's always just something a little bit on it. Obviously Birmingham City will be a challenge, and they'll be really up for this as well in the same respect, but it'd be great to see the Wolves boys compete and get the result tonight.
Easy interception here for Justin Hubner, under pressure from Oriol Soldevilla. Hubner's ball, trying to get Harkin in behind, it's just going to bounce away from him. So the surface did take a bit of a pounding, having had 120 minutes on it on Saturday. There's been a fair bit of rain around as well before kick-off. You can hear maybe the swirling wind. The ground staff have done a tremendous job. That's Hugo Bueno's header. He's one of those coming into the starting lineup, having been rested for Friday's draw against Swansea. All about both sets of players just settling into a rhythm at this stage of the game.
Yeah, I think there's so much squad rotation as well, isn't there, in the under-23s, where the players are going up, they're going out on loan, they're coming back in, they've had injuries, so you can see there's like a lot of players going through, but that, that's what the under-23s is there for. It's a developmental squad where, players can push on to the first team, they can perform well or need to go on loan for more experience. I mean, you got Theo Corbeanu doing fantastically well at NK Dons, and it's great to see, isn't it, the rotation of players and those that are getting involved in the first team squad as well. So I love seeing this level that's here competing and fighting for a place to show what they can do. It's really good to see.
It will be a battle, it will be competitive this evening, maybe a touch more so than some of the recent games that we have seen.
I think as well the fact that you've got a crowd in and a little bit of atmosphere, isn't it? I know obviously at St George's Park it would be restricted and a little bit of a quieter kind of pre-season friendly feel, I imagine, but here today you've definitely got a decent crowd in front of us, so hopefully people will get behind Wolves. It looks like a bit of a fair few home fans in here, so it'd be good to see them get behind the boys.
This is Christian Marquez now for Taylor Perry. Always interesting to see how players like Taylor Perry respond to coming back to this level of football, having tasted league competition and done well at Cheltenham. 14 appearances, 1 goal. By all accounts, very highly thought of there. Were it not for a hip injury, his loan, I think, would have continued.
I mean, there's a little bit of pressure on him and there, isn't there, to probably perform, and he's mixed it all with decent crowds behind him and done brilliantly, but you know, back at this level. We want to see him compete and show that he could, you know, he could mix it up. And there's been squads, you know, the first team's pretty tight in terms of squad, and there's going to be times where some of these players are going to be competing to get onto the bench. There'll be no more loans, so it's now the moment to impress the manager and see if they can push on.
Thomas Parsons is the man in the middle today. He's taken charge of 3 games so far for Wolves this season. As Soldevilla tries to force his way through, but he finds Christian Marquez waiting to clear the ball. Thomas Parsons gave 2 dodgy penalties against Wolves this year, and then the other game they lost 5-0 at home to Norwich, so let's hope that's not an omen as to the referee's performance tonight. Certainly couldn't be blamed for Wolves losing 5-0, it has to be said.
Can't be at fault for all 5.
Here comes Harkin, trying to cause some issues for Blues. He had runners through the middle, and a switch it for Lembakisa, didn't quite reach him.
He was in quite a bit of space, wasn't he, there on the far side? It's a shame he couldn't get the ball into that space in behind.
Worth reiterating the lineup. Sondergaard in goal. The back 3 tonight is Ollie Tipton, Christian Marquez and Justin Hubner. Dexter Lembakisa, right wing back, Hugo Bueno on the left hand side, Harvey Griffis and Taylor Perry. The midfield 2, Harry Birtwistle, Lee Harkin and Jack Hodnett, the attacking trio. Blues with Zach Geacock in goal and Marcel Oakley, Nico Gordon, Rico Brown and Kane Thompson. Their back 4, Remy Walker and Brandon Keeler, the midfield 2, and Josh Williams, Oriol Soldevilla and Marcel Lewis all supporting Kieran Wakefield up top. Long diagonal for Williams to chase, but that will go harmlessly through for a goal kick. Andreas Sondergaard, I was talking to him before the game, Claire, that he'd been on loan at Randers back in Denmark and only managed to play the 1 cup game and a couple of friendlies, and he's just been talking about that need just to get a chance to play some games again.
I think it's really tough, isn't it, being a goalkeeper? And you look at John Ruddy on Sunday, the similar sort of setup. You know, they're restricted on opportunities even when they get to first team level. So that patience, the level of patience that they've got to have waiting for their moment to get on, it's key. And I mean, getting regular football at Hereford, it's a great place to go, but it's a lively atmosphere down there as well. And I think it's a decent standard. It'll be physical, and you know he'll get plenty of opportunity to get some game time down there.
Williams trying to knock it past Hubner. Oakley got there ahead of him. This is Williams. It's maybe caught by Taylor Perry. Referee had a look at it, was happy enough. Hubner with the clearance. Bueno trying to hold on to the ball. He'll settle for getting the throw. So if you're Andreas Sondergaard, you know that John Ruddy won't be around at the club forever. And at one point, effectively, he was 3rd choice, and then having gone out on loan, we've seen Louis Molden play every week for the 23s and train every week with the new goalkeeping coach, Tony Roberts, who is here tonight to cast his eyes over Andreas Sondergaard. That's a good ball, looking for Lembakisa, just a little bit behind and out of play. Well, if you're Sondergaard, now Molden effectively ahead of you, although he's gone on loan too. This is his chance to impress.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a big moment, isn't it, for him? And you know, getting a bit of game time back with Wolves, I think it's it's a nice balance, isn't it? He gets to stay in touch with his club, but go and get the minutes out at Hereford as well. So I think the balance is good, and it'll be 2 very different experiences. It'll be very physical, big, a decent crowd behind them. At Hereford and then back here, probably looking to play a bit more the Wolves way, and gets that distribution practice in the way that Wolves want him to play out. So yeah, really good to see him tonight, and hoping he keeps his clean sheet, because that's what we'll be after.
This is Birtwistle trying to get Harkin in behind. Flag did stay down. Well, the support was from Lembakisa, who thought Harkin was making more of a move for him. I don't think he'd have reached the return pass from Dexter Lembakisa anyway. Both these two not having the greatest of seasons in Premier League 2 Division 2. Blues just being held off the bottom by Reading in their first campaign at this level, having got Category 1 academy status. This is Nico Gordon back to the goalkeeper. Thompson trying to find Lewis down the line. That'll be Wolves' ball.
I think Birmingham City have got a bit of a you know, decent youth setup as well, or they always have done. Joe Bellingham, yeah?
Yeah, following the
his
footsteps
younger
of
brother,
Jude.
and he must be, what, 16? And he's now mixing it in for the first team, and I bet they wish he was in this lineup tonight, but I imagine he'll become a hell of a player if he's anything like his brother.
It's Brandon Keeler going to the touchline to get something checked over. Yeah, Joe Bellingham actually came off the bench in the game at St Andrews earlier this season. I think he's a little bit more of a forward player than the big brother Jude.
It's great to see, though, isn't it? Those kind of players that have got enough talent to, you know, be getting on the pitch for the first team.
Oh, good speed that by Birtwistle to make sure he got on the end of that little flick on. And Bakisa, good run, driving, powerful run, and he was close to picking out Lee Harkin in the 6-yard box.
It's a great run by Lembakisa, isn't it? Great battling by Birtwistle there to win the ball back when it looked like he really shouldn't have done. A great driving run into the box. I think it's just a shame he didn't look for the pull back for Hodnett. I think he was ready there. He'd gone back into, you know, ready for him to pull the ball back to him to slot it home. But yeah, great play. That's the first bit of, you know, attacking play that we've seen, really.
It's Tipton looking for Lembakisa, trying to help it on for Birtwistle. Harkin trying to make a nuisance of himself. He's working clear to Williams. When Wolves are in possession, Claire, Lembakisa's going in quite a lot in field and leaving Birtwistle out wide. The advantage of having two players more than comfortable enough at playing wing back.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Well, I saw him earlier this season. Birtwistle, he had a great game at Shrewsbury in the Cup. So it's interesting to see him in this different position tonight and see how he gets on. And I think a lot of those players, the wing backs, can often slot into that position.
Oh, big opportunity though for Wakefield as the flag stays down. It's Wakefield, big save by Sondergaard. Williams with the follow-up opportunity, trying to find the far corner. Only finds the roof of the stand. Big moment for Andreas Sondergaard, talking about his return to the under-23 setup. Wakefield suddenly found himself clean through.
He had acres of space as well, didn't he, there? Plenty of time to pick his spot, but yeah, keeper did really well, you know, stood tall, kept his position and managed to block it out.
Big let off for Wolves. Here comes Harkin at the other end. He's done well again, Lee Harkin. Have Nico Gordon at his back.
Good ball to set him away there from Taylor Perry as well when he was under a little bit of pressure. But yeah, good, brilliant from Harkin. He's, you know, he's holding the ball up well there. Like you say, being a nuisance and, you know, causing havoc for their defenders. I think he's a little bit of Daniel Podence in him, isn't he, in terms of size-wise, and, you know, I think he's there to be a little bit of a menace and get the ball down and a bit of trickery to get him through on goal. Yeah,
it's kind of the modern way in football to not necessarily always rely on a big 6-foot-plus central striker, because he is such a nuisance. He's a terrier. Here he is popping up on the right-hand side this time. Just a bit of a heavy touch. But he's certainly a trier, Lee Harkin.
Well, that's the thing that everyone can do, isn't it? That's the base, you know, the effort, determination. I do think, you know, you watch the first team, let's not talk about, you know, Saturday at the moment, but in terms of, like, effort, work rate, determination, it's what you normally see in absolute bundles. So I think that's what they'll be wanting to show. They've got to show the desire that they, you know, they want to compete.
Here's Williams. Soldevilla allowed to continue on, but well tracked in the end by Griffis. Tidied up by Thompson. This is Walker, the captain. Oakley's ball. Gordon to Walker again. It's Blues who are trying to control and dictate the tempo at the moment. Hodnett with a rash challenge.
It's a bit clumsy, isn't it? I think he's lost his patience a little bit in terms of, you know, holding position and dived in a little bit there. But yeah, like you say, Blues are dominating in that midfield at the moment. We seem to be happy to sit back and absorb it, but ready to counter-attack.
Walker to Brown. Thompson back in field. This is Nico Gordon. Walker finding Williams. Balls are very deep at the moment. Blues still finding pockets and gaps to try and exploit. Walker's run leaves it for Williams. Soldevilla thought he'd seen a gap towards goal, but enough of a block on that to help it through to Sondergaard. It's an underrated part of the game, Claire, where youngsters having just to learn sometimes to dig in and not allow yourself to be overrun.
Yeah, and keeping your patience and your position and staying nice and compact there to frustrate your opponents as well. It's the discipline, isn't it, as well? I think the discipline of, you know, not diving in. You don't want to give a free kick away, but hassling and pressing enough to put your opponent under pressure to give you the ball back. So.
Well, there was the pressure
to
try and win it back. It's towards Harkin, and Harkin, well, he wanted a free kick. Nico Gordon was tight to him.
I think he was under pressure, but I think he's gone down a little bit easy there. It's a shame he couldn't have stayed on his feet because he was in a pretty decent position.
Wasn't there one of those balls where he probably would have wanted it just into the space rather than tight to his chest in that scenario?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you've got players around him, he's got something to play off. But he's been lively, hasn't he? I think, you know, you look a lot of the time, because we're sitting pretty deep, he's kind of on his own, with surrounded by 3 centre-backs from Birmingham City, so he's got a tough job in there, and from the angle that we're at, they look about double his height as well, so...
Bueno for Hubner. And here comes Tipton. Griffith's ball. This is Harkin. Did have support up there. Found it hard though. Lembakisa a little bit loose from he in field. The pressure from Harkin. That's going to be a Wolves throw.
He's got a great feet, hasn't he, Lembakisa? He's such good with the ball at his feet, but you want him to keep the ball as well. You know, when we're under pressure, we haven't had much possession. We want to keep that ball, get it out of there, and then switch it out. Hodnett's, you know, been an observer really on this left-hand side. It'd be great to see him get on the ball a little bit.
Well, it's been a remarkable rise for Dexter Lembakisa, really. As Griffiths couldn't keep that one going. He pretty much came from nowhere to get into the team at the start of the season. Been a fairly regular part of the under-18s, but hadn't really featured around the under-23 group last year. And with Hugo Bueno being injured and Lewis Richards was injured for a time, he found himself occupying the left wing-back position, and now with Jack Scott having headed out on loan in January and Harry Birtwistle being used in a slightly different role, it's the right wing-back slot that's his own, and you wouldn't be able to tell which was his natural side, in fairness to him.
And that's brilliant, isn't it? I mean, you look at Bax Kilman and many other players. I mean, you can't be a professional football player these days without, you know, having 2 decent feet, so it's not the case of him being tied in. It also gives him the moment to, when he is driving forward and cutting into the box, brilliant if he can, you know, bring it inside and get it onto his left foot to take a shot at goal as well. So I think there's a bit more flexibility there and a few more strings to his bow as well in terms of him getting game time if he's got more flexibility.
Nico Gordon for Blues. Now Rico Brown. Thompson closed down by Lembakisa. Tipton in with the challenge. A little bit scrappy, but Perry trying to put it into an area for Harkin to try and chase. Brown back to his goalkeeper. Did well actually, Zach Geacock in the end. Game seems to have settled down into its rhythm now.
Yeah, I think so. Well, it'd be nice to see Taylor Perry on the ball just a little bit more and him getting utilised, because I get, you know, you can see the positions that he's holding. He's ready to get that ball. He's sitting pretty deep in the centre of midfield, ready to receive it and looking to play out in the other direction. So I think getting him on the ball will be key to us creating some chances and getting ourselves forward.
Harvey Griffis a little bit too keen to try and get involved on that occasion. The Blues have seen plenty of the ball so far. Williams down the right-hand side, trying to cause issues for Hugo Bueno. Oakley. Brown for Thompson. Found his route forwards blocked. Who's happy enough to recycle the possession. Gordon finding Oakley. Walker. Also the bank of 5 and a bank of 4, and then Lee Harkin just ahead of them.
Yeah, you can see it really visibly, can't you? And as soon as obviously they push back, the ball comes out to their back 3, then we do start to press a little bit and put the pressure on. Got to be careful really not to sit too deep on Sondergaard as well. He needs to start pushing them out just a little bit. At times it looks like we're just a little bit too deep.
Yeah, don't want to invite too much pressure.
And like you say, those are the learning moments for the under-23s. Those are the moments where it's learning when and where to go and you know, reading the game situations when we need to take the pressure off, when we need to sit back.
Well, there's an offside flag up against Lee Harkin, which is only just inside the Blues half. They're not allowed to take it, I think, from where he tried to make contact with it, so it was only just inside the Blues half by the time they took it. Nico Gordon for Blues. Good pressure by Birtwistle, and Birtwistle is sharp enough to get away. He's got support. He tried to find Harkin, and across came Nico Gordon to make amends and help out his defensive teammate.
It's brilliant work to win the ball back from Birtwistle. I think he was driving on. I'm surprised he didn't take a shot. Given the position of the defender, looked like he was ready to block it, but he was a great driving run, and you know he managed to win us a corner. But Taylor Perry, great to see him actually breaking through, because I've felt he's been sitting a little bit deep, but he was the third man in the box there, ready for the pullback.
Opportunity to try and swing the ball in with the big boys forwards from the back. Headed away by Soldevilla. Hodnett collects the ball again. Wasn't a bad delivery in, but Blues with numbers and a little bit of a height advantage. We spoke about Wolves soaking up the pressure and then trying to make Blues make a mistake. It very nearly paid off, and now seems like the game just swinging a touch as Perry carries and finds Bueno. Was he clipped? He was.
Yeah, it's a good little spell, this, isn't it? I think, you know, a chance, a corner, a couple of good deliveries from Jack Hodnett as well in there. Good to see Wolves getting on the ball. Taylor Perry getting a little bit more involved as well.
So Hodnett stood over the ball. It's effectively a corner from the position they are. Marquez, Tipton, Hubner, Griffis, all set to make the late runs. It's a good header down, brilliant save, the follow-up is turned in! It's Harvey Griffis who's there! And Wolves strike first on Derby night in PL2.
It's a great finish, isn't it, in the end? I was nearly going to say it's interesting them not mixing it up in terms of obviously a lot of height that Birmingham City have got in the box there, but it's a great header from Marquez. Keeper, it looked like he got down to just save it and push it away, and then obviously Harvey Griffis managed to finish it off.
Set piece opportunity, snapped up. And Harvey Griffis, who came in from Man City at the start of the season, had a bit of an injury-affected campaign so far. Still only 18 years of age. Good size to him as well. And that's his second goal of the campaign on his 7th PL2 appearance.
That's what you want your centre midfielders to do. He's picking up the pieces in there. Obviously a great first header from Marquez, and you know he was sharp enough to get to the ball before their defenders, which is brilliant. You know, it's great to see centre midfielders contributing with goals as well.
Now then, Sondergaard decided to come and had to make sure he got something on that. Brave goalkeeping. There's an inherent risk in coming out of his penalty area, but once you've decided to go, you've got to get there.
You've got to see it through, haven't you? I think he did well there, didn't he? I think he's, you know, he made the right decision to head back as the cover was on there with Bueno as well. So, but you know, he's had a lively start. He's sitting like a sweeper there on the edge of the box. I think when Tony Roberts is watching on, he'll be, you know, wanting to put in his best display he possibly can tonight.
Number 8, Harvey Griffiths.
Here's Perry. He spotted the movement of Hodnett. Bueno did well to make sure he got there first. Trying to hold off Brandon Keeler. He's helped it round the corner to Birtwistle. Birtwistle to the byline. Oh, Harkin not far off from connecting.
Yeah, you wanted the second runner as well, didn't you, coming through just behind him? I think Lembikisa was just slightly off there. He was just about just coming into the picture to join in. Just a touch too late, but yeah, it was really good play there. Nice little ball from Hugo Bueno to start it off.
Williams intercepted by Marquez. So we talk about the virtue of Wolves holding firm in that spell when Blues are having all the ball and all the territory.
Yeah, the patience paid off, didn't it? We've sat deep waiting for the right moment, and then, you know, we were in a decent spell as well there. I think we were coming on top of the game a little bit. It's really great, just that little last piece of play there. Harry Birtwistle, you kind of want to get him on the ball. He looks lively, he looks like he can beat a man. He's got decent feet, quite aggressive in his play.
Yeah, but it'll be interesting to see where they see him longer term. He's intercepted again, and it's Harkin. Support from Birtwistle. He's so quick.
He's just lively, isn't he? It's kind of what, you know, you want to see players like that under 23 level. You know, I think of kids watching role models that, you know, kids that are in the stand today, and he's the sort of player you want him to be watching. Lively, looks like he really wants the ball, wants to get on the ball and, you know, drive forward and create chances for his team. And it's nice to see him in that forward role to see how he affects the game. I thought he did brilliantly when I saw him at right wing back, but you know, he's still mixing it up and causing problems in the more forward position as well.
Yeah, I say first team staff will no doubt know plenty of him. He'll have trained with them quite a few times, and you wonder whether the little move to push him further forwards maybe comes from those above. Scott Sellers obviously watches these games regularly as well. That man in your picture, James Collins, plenty to think about. Griffis, Perry. Tipton to Birtwistle. Harkin won't be able to reach it. Approaching that half an hour mark, just past it. Wolves with the advantage. Starting to dictate terms a little bit more.
Yeah, we're getting some good possession and looking pretty composed on the ball as well, and you know, not playing too many risky balls. I think they've got to start to enjoy possession as well, because you know, look at the way the first team play. You've got to enjoy being in possession, and obviously we try and play out from most moments, whether it's tight or not. And it's, you know, there's going to be mistakes, but that, you know, that's fine.
Lovely turn from Hodnett, trying to get Harkin away. It wasn't far off that ball at all. Maybe just bent away from Lee Harkin at the final moment. Now Hubner and Marquez got in each other's way. Wakefield held up by Tipton. Soldevilla. Brandon Keeler. Soldevilla once more. Now Williams up against Bueno. Williams still allowed to run, and too much on his cross. Thompson just about keeping it in. Lewis trying to dig out the cross, but I'll be comfortably behind for a goal kick. And just have been one or two signs in there from Blues. That one felt a little bit more that Wolves gave them the opportunity with a bit of miscommunication.
Yeah, definitely. I think the little bit of a lost shape, and both players, both centre-halves going for the same ball. That's what caused the problem. They spun off the back and created a little bit of an opportunity to cross in a good position. But like we just said, you know, it's developmental stages in terms of their football, and mistakes will be made. It's gaining the confidence from difficult, tricky positions and working out what works when. Wolves now, again, getting back on the ball, getting in possession in good areas. I think you've got to take these moments that they're playing brilliantly. I think they've really settled into the game now, and like you say, we're dominating these periods.
Lewis ran into bodies, but was a little bit pulled back by Birtwistle on his way. Thomas Parsons wants to insist that the ball is exactly where he wants it to be before Blues are allowed to restart. It's not too detrimental from Wolves' point of view, allows them to get back in position.
It's good of him to get our shape back on there, I think.
Soldevilla. Walker. Soldevilla continued his run, but Wolves had the numbers back there. Did look like Hodnett handballed it, but it's the blind side of the officials. Soldevilla. Walker's been allowed to carry it. Williams. Bueno and Hodnett challenging. And Thomas Parsons didn't like the final challenge on Williams. I'm sure there was a great deal in it. I think he just lost his footing as he tried to spin through a gap.
I don't think there was much in that at all, but interesting one now for Sondergaard and the back three, you know, to defend this one and see how they get on. They've got some big lads, Birmingham City, so it will be a threat.
It's Remy Walker and Oriol Soldevilla stood over the ball. It'll be Soldevilla to whip it through. And that came off a Blues head in the end, comfortably over the top of Andreas Sondergaard's goal.
I think the distance he was heading it from, you'd probably hope Sondergaard wasn't beaten from that angle. But, you know, Wolves, you know, 10 minutes to play or so. Be good to get another chance in if we can. But most importantly, I think when you're at this stage in the game, is you want to go in with a clean sheet and go in 1-0 up and build from there.
It hasn't always been easy going. They've been made to work for it. Harkin's attempted touch. Lembakisa was up there in support. Thompson. Gordon back to the goalkeeper. Nico Brown. Zach Gcott. Was happy enough for Blues to have it in those type of areas.
Yeah, it's interesting to see the interchanging, isn't it, with Harry Birtwistle and Len Bakisa.
Oh, now Hugo Bueno lost where the ball had gone there. And Williams knew exactly where it was. Dare I say, Hugo Bueno might have known exactly what he was doing in the end.
I'm pretty sure he did. I think he tried to make it look like he didn't know where the ball had gone, but I think he well knew where the player was and made sure he kept his body in there to win the free kick. I mean, there's nothing, you know, nothing major in it. I think it's definitely a free kick to Birmingham City.
A warning and nothing more for Hugo Bueno. Soldevilla stood over the ball, bit more of a gap, bit more of an angle maybe to go for goal. Still plenty of options in the penalty area, just out of your picture, just to the left of it you can see big group of players. Soldevilla to try and lift it towards them all, and well defended in the end. Taylor Perry using that added experience, got his body in the way and wins the free kick.
Yeah, he did really well there, didn't he? And you know, you could just see that little bit of experience. He knew he had to keep it in that position, and he did so and won us a little free kick in there. I think a little shout in there for Bueno that he had a little bit more time than he thought previously. You know, cleared it to the edge of the box, gave it back to Birmingham City. I think he could have brought it down on his chest and then maybe played out. But again, you know, you don't know these things until they're in the moments, and that level of communication as well is something that they'll still be learning at this stage.
Marquez forwards. Harkin lost his footing.
I think your job there, you're looking at Jack Hodnett, and there he wins the ball just from a little bit of decent pressure.
And here comes Harkin. It's Lee Harkin to strike it. It's a firm effort and a good save in the end.
Good strike on goalie. You know, I don't think there was anyone else with him at that point. You know, it was definitely an opportunity to take. But brilliant pressure from Jack Hodnett. You know, wasn't letting them through. Managed to win the ball back just by putting them under pressure.
Then Bakisa putting pressure on Thompson. It's halting the run initially.
Not sure he's too happy with that decision. I think he was after a free kick perhaps. I mean, he's so quick, Len Bakisa. I think he's got a little bit tight there and potentially going to get rolled by the attacking player, but he's so quick that I think he'd probably get back in anyway.
Here he is again, getting a foot to the ball. Griffis. It's just a little bit behind Birtwistle.
Just a little bit too much in there, in the same hole. I think Harkin and Hodnett are giving him an angle to bring it out this way and bring it towards the left-hand side to switch the play.
Griffis again in with a challenge. It's so important, this under-23 lineup, despite only being 18. He has such a physical presence that Wolves haven't always had. They do tend to be a little bit smaller. And because they're a bit younger in terms of the physical development, I spoke a lot last year, Claire, about the way Christian Marquez's body changed through the season. You look at he and Ollie Tipton, especially compare them to Justin Hubner, who's going through it but not quite as filled out in the chest as much as the other two. You know, they really look like proper centre halves now.
Yeah, it's huge differences, isn't it? I mean, 22s, like definitely adult football. Some of these lads are 16, 17, 18, still really young in terms of their physical development as well.
This is Griffiths winning it back and finding Lembakisa. Put in a slightly inviting cross, but ball's only really had Birtwistle and Harkin in the middle. Both had made a pretty similar run towards the near post.
I think, like you said, you looked at that Swansea game where, you know, was it our average age was 17?
17.3.
Just 17 to be precise. Get the decimal point in there. I think it's massive, isn't it? It's brilliant to see as well that we've got so many good young players, and obviously there's a big game at Molineux on Saturday as well. So again, showing the talent and youth that we have, and you're always looking for that next player to come up and step and push on and join in the first team squad.
Griffiths not quite able to find a teammate that time, but Hodnett will intercept here. And now Perry. This is the kind of area Taylor Perry likes to be. He was looking for Harkin. It was well read by Marcel Oakley in the end.
I think well defended. I think Harkin was a little bit wary of going offside, so couldn't take his run further forward. It's a shame Taylor Perry didn't take it on himself in some respects. He was really driving on with confidence and would have took a lot to stop him.
Marquez finding Bueno. Sondergaard to Tipton. Lembakisa. It's good play from Wolves, good interplay, and look at the speed from Birtwistle. Got involved in a bit of a physical battle there with Kane Thompson in the end.
It's a bit unfortunate. That was great play, wasn't it, coming from left back all the way through to your goalkeeper, and then, you know, threatening down the right wing, which is, you know, great play. It's what you want to see. Composure on the ball in the defensive third.
Bueno's challenge. Hodnett. It was an important tackle that by Brandon Keeler. Bueno had gone charging past him. Hodnett maybe should have tried to play it rather than squeeze back in field.
I think with two defenders pretty close proximity, getting that ball offloaded might have been the best move, but Bueno was in a decent position. He started to play again. Great feet, isn't he, Bueno? Nice to see him on the ball and looking confident.
He's another who has really benefited from being in and around the first team group in terms of his physical conditioning and shape. He's off again down that left-hand side, and great tenacity to make sure the ball was his, and now trying to craft something. It's taken two to stop him. Hubner. Lembakisa is forwards. Griffiths going in. It's going to come to Harkin. Perry needed the referee to get out the way. Hubner. Wolves finishing the half strongly. Griffiths making the run, took it well in his stride. See what he was trying to do, and Thomas Parsons will pull it back and dish out a card there.
I didn't quite see what that was for.
I think there might have been a little tug by Rico Brown.
Good bit of play from Wolves coming out. Taylor Perry looking really composed. I love the way that he's just trying to start again. He's playing pretty simply, keeping possession is his priority, and, you know, not taking too many risks in there. But Ollie Tipton getting involved, you're talking about the whole 10 outfield players were involved in that, you know, that process of a move for, you know, a couple of minutes. So really good, and obviously resulted in a Wolves free kick.
Hodnett to try and put it into the penalty area, a little bit too close to the goalkeeper. Marquez was trying to delay G-Cock from getting the ball downfield. bought his teammates a bit of time. He's still forwards here. Harkin on the turn.
It's a shame with that last free kick. I think when you play that kind of ball and there was no angle to go at, I think somebody's got to run across the keeper's eye line or mix it up a little bit.
Well, it looked like a shove in there on Bueno, who's recovered really well to win possession back.
It's a great tackle, that.
Battle of Spain. One to keep an eye on.
He's had a great last 5 minutes. Bueno on the ball lots more. Anticipated that last ball that was switching across brilliantly to win it back for us.
Griffiths forwards now. Lembakisa with time and space to turn. It's not a bad pass to find Hodner. Up against Brown, who's on a yellow card. Digs the cross out. Oh, goalkeeper didn't know where he was going. And that's the final action of the first half. Harvey Griffis' goal is the difference between the two teams. Blues were on top for a large period, but Wolves grew into it, eventually got themselves a set piece. Header from Christian Marquez, saved by Zach Cheacock, but Harvey Griffis first to the follow-up for his second of the Premier League 2 campaign. Lee Harkin and a few others have had some decent half efforts too. And in the end, Claire Hakeman, are Wolves worthy of their half-time lead?
I think they probably were, yeah. I think there's some really good spells in there. Really pleasing performances in there as well. I think Taylor Perry getting on the ball a little bit more. So many contributions as well, from right-hand side with Burt Whistle and Lembakisa to left-hand side Bueno in the last 5 or 10 minutes. Got on the ball much more. Harking causing havoc up there as well. So I think you've got to be careful of those couple of chances that Blues did have. I think we've pretty much gifted them. So it's getting that composure and patience and waiting for when and where to push forward.
Who's really standing out for you at the moment, and who do you think James Collins will want a little bit more from in the second period?
Oh, I think he'll just want to make sure these mistakes stop, so he's keeping that shape on. We saw Marquez getting a little bit muddled up with Hubner, so it's just keeping that shape and composure and making sure that we don't give any silly goals away, and you know that comes with experience as well. I think Taylor Perry's been solid, nothing crazy in terms of like contribution, but playing simply a lot of the time to keep us with possession, which is key. I think every time Burt Whistle gets the ball, he looks like he creates something from nowhere, and Lembakisa as well, lively in defensive third and in the attacking third, which is what we want to see.
Brilliant, thank you. More from Claire Hakeman to come very shortly. More from Wolves under 23s in the second half here at Aggborough. Don't go anywhere. Half time, Wolves 1, Blues now.
about Fraser. Ναι, θέλω να δω τις επαφές του, γιατί είναι λίγο ξύλο. Δεν έχει τόσο κρύο. Γιατί είναι χαμός. Μουσικές, άλλο τοπικό Ελλάδος, Άγιος Θωμάς. Άγιος Θωμάς, γύρω στο βουλίο, στα ποτήρια έβαλα τα πίσω. Και είναι βιτεχνική. Ανώτερη βιτεχνική. Ο άλλος φτιάχνει το χορτάρι. Ο άλλος φτιάχνει το χορτάρι. Ναι, τα είδα πριν. Τι να λες. Φυσικά κοίτα πόσο κόσμο έχει. Είναι γεμάτη. Πάρα πολύ κόσμο. Και επιτέλους πληρώνει εισιτήριο για να μπεις τουλάχιστον. Πλήρωσε, μαλάκα 2 ευρώ. Και κλείσαμε και online. Μαλάκα απίστευτο. Πού να δεις να πάμε Japan. Δεν γελάς. Έχει κλείσει. Το επόμενο. Να δω τα τρώμε. Κατσαρίδι. Για μένα δεν νοείται το ημίχρονο. Να μην είναι ο δυνατής και να τους κάνει όλους μαζί σε αναλύσεις. Δεν έχω ιδέα. falta agresivo. Não só a bola. Quando volte, vai ficar assim.
Please welcome back on the field, Birmingham City and the Wolverhampton Wanderers.
So, Wolves leading by a goal to nil, 45 minutes away from a derby double this season. Former Wolves women defender Claire Hakeman alongside myself, Mikey Burrows, here at Aggborough Stadium in Kidderminster. Blues have made a change at half-time. It's like Rico Brown is the man to have gone off. Tommy Fogarty is the man who's on, 17-year-old Irish central defender. No changes from Wolves' point of view.
After substitution for Birmingham City, leaving the field number 6, Nico Gordon, replaced by number 12, Tommy Fogarty.
Well, they're officially saying Rico Gordon, but I can tell you it wasn't Rico Gordon. He is very much still on the field. They did officially put the board up as number 6. I can tell you definitely number 6 is still on the field, because here he is chasing the ball, and it's over the top of him and all the way through.
Hopefully going to finish this game, start this game the way that we finished off the first half, sorry. I thought we finished really strongly, created chances right at the death, so hopefully we start well and really push on them, making a change. Maybe it looks like they might be looking to change the system or try and liven it up themselves.
He was also on a yellow card as well, Rico Brown, which might partly explain why he has been replaced. The Wolves with Andreas Sondergaard in goal, who is still on loan at Hereford, but because it's non-league, is allowed to come back and play in the under-23s. And Ollie Tipton, Christian Marquez and Justin Hubner, the back three. Dexter Lembakisa and Hugo Bueno, the wing backs. Harvey Griffis, the goal scorer, and the returning Taylor Perry in midfield. And then Lee Harkin through the middle, Harry Birtwistle and Jack Hodnett either side, the attacking trio for Wolves. Running through the Blues team in a second as Williams looks to try and drive them forwards downfield. Cross came Harvey Griffis. Gordon's header. Forwards by Perry. Gordon again. Perry with another chance. This time brought it down nicely, under control. See what he was trying to do there, Claire. It just, defender read it quite well in the end.
Yeah, I mean, I like the way that he's trying to stay in possession. You can tell it's his first priority, and you know, stats on that must be good. I think he was just a little bit lucky, lost his foot in a little bit as he tried to turn out, but he's looks very comfortable driving forward, drives through quite aggressively into the final third, and that's what you want from your centre midfielders. You need a bit of that to join in with the front three to make things happen.
Ball forwards that Griffiths can now try and release options down that left-hand side. Bueno's attempted cross.
I think the thing I've been really impressed with is as soon as we hit that final third, you can see the reaction from the players around them. That, you know, 5 players into the box there. As soon as we cross that line into the final third, we fill the box, which is great because you get numbers forward. You got obviously more chance of scoring goals.
Wolves trying to be creative from the set piece. Because his ball away by Gordon. Griffith's got his body in the way. It will be a Blues throw.
You kind of want him to keep the ball for us there, don't you, Griffiths? You know, keep it simple, like we just spoke about Taylor Perry. Keeping the ball simple, priorities, keeping possession.
Oh, loose one. Here's Griffiths. Now Hodnett. Oh, I think he just turned the wrong way in the end, Jack Hodnett. Birtwistle challenging. Williams still going. Birtwistle collided in. Lewis just rather gifts it straight to Hubner. Gordon for Fogarty. This is Thompson. Remy Walker. Griffiths trying to get a grip of him. And goes Lembakisa, but Thompson allowed to continue on, but well read in the end by Christian Marquez, who is showing signs that he's getting back to his pre-loan levels. There's a crunching challenge. I wonder how hard it is, Claire, when you've spent a couple of months really not really playing even at this kind of level of competitive football. It does take a bit of time.
Yeah, definitely, and I think getting game minutes, you can't replace that, and getting your confidence back in match situations is key for players, and key for their development as well, to be on the ball and on the pitch. It's the same reason why a lot of our players have been loaned out. Switches on.
Big opportunity, perhaps for Hugo Bueno on his weaker foot. And he found the foot of a Blues defender, but well played again by Griffiths. Now might open out to try and pick someone out in the penalty area through the legs of Taylor Perry. What an opportunity.
That's brilliant from Harvey Griffiths there. He's really aggressive in his press and won the ball back for us, and then got into a great position to drive in, and really was on a plate there for Taylor Perry. I think he must have just slightly missed the ball through the light, but great play from him. Decent little switch out as well before from Hodnett out to the left wing. So another great period of play. I think Wolves are looking on top, pretty comfortable. Blues are giving us the ball back as soon as they get into good positions, so they're being pretty kind in that respect. Got a hell of a presence, hasn't he, Harvey Griffis, in terms of his size.
Is that Troy Deeney?
Troy Deeney there, I think, yeah.
Yeah, watching on.
He's got a broom, Mikey. Give him a shout to bring us one over.
If you're a professional, you can be looked after. Say around there somewhere is the Wolves first team goalkeeper coach, Tony Roberts.
There's James Collins. It's a busy bench there. Be interesting to see. I think Wolves will be making changes, won't they? There's been big rotation the last few weeks and getting players minutes and rotating them around ready for the next game, and really balancing the amount of game time that players are probably having, looking after them, their development.
There's Sondergaard. Griffiths.
played. Good play there from Ollie Tipton, playing out through Lembakisa. Birtwistle just couldn't get hold of it a little bit there.
Here's Lembakisa.
Nice.
Now Perry. Opportunity to try and pick out Birtwistle. Hodney. Perry to strike it. Oh, couldn't get it on target.
I think they've definitely clashed heads there, haven't they? It's a nasty one, that. It's a shame because it looked like it was in a great position for him to obviously score for us, but well defended. It's a sore one for Birtwistle. I imagine the subs, there they are, the subs are being sent to warm up.
Just getting that's Jeff Shee, keeping a keen eye. He was at St George's Park on Friday watching as well. Just getting confirmation from our friends at Birmingham over on the far side that, yeah, as sometimes happens, Claire, at this level of football, players don't always wear the same shirts that they were allocated on the team sheet. So I can clear up for you that Rico Brown and Nico Gordon swapped shirts. And so it was Nico Gordon who went off. Rico Brown, wearing a different number to one who was allocated, is still on. I hope that clears things up for everybody. There's Tony Roberts. Knew we'd find him somewhere. Keeping an eye on what's going on with Andreas Sondergaard at the moment. Bit of concern for Harry Birtwistle, who's to his feet. He's trying to go and hide again. Tony Roberts, he's clearly someone's told him, you're on camera.
Marcel Lewis, replaced by number 15, Otis Lewis.
Keeping a close eye on Sondergaard there. He's right in his eye line. Good to see Birtwistle back on his feet. It's looking okay.
Blues have made another change. Marcel Lewis has gone off and Otis Lewis has come on. Thankfully, everybody seems to be okay, and we're back underway. Big challenge going in.
Nearly hit Tony Roberts, that one. He's taking a move now.
Marquez will have to deal with that. Initially he wanted Sondergaard to come and claim it.
I think he was hoping that was going to run through to him.
Foot in by Birtwistle. Lembakisa for Tipton. Came on and played in midfield initially on Friday. Versatile. Ollie Tipton scored a penalty at St Andrews. Got Wolves back on level terms. Luke Cundle and scored an absolute beauty of a curler into the top corner to get the win.
I think that flexibility is key, isn't it? At this level, they're still developing their games, and listening to your piece on the Wolves radio earlier with Connor Cody's 300th appearance and seeing his transition. I remember him very well, having that period of in between the bench and right back, and obviously started in midfield, and you look where he's ended up. So that flexibility, there's no telling what their position is now, may not be where they actually end up.
Yeah, Tipton did play the Connor Cody role for the under-18s for the majority of his time coming through. That is very much Christian Marquez's position and role for the 23s when he's around. There's Hodnett. Not a bad run this from Hodnett. He spotted an opportunity to go for goal. Oh, he's asking quite a lot, especially on his weaker foot.
It's good to see him want to shoot though, getting into some good forward positions, Jack Hodnett, and putting some good balls into the box. Just that little bit of composure there.
This is Griffis. That's clever. Perry lost his footing on the challenge of Rico Brown.
It was a great play from Harvey Griffis, wasn't it? Really tidy on the ball, keeping us in possession.
And another change coming from Blues.
Birmingham City substitution in midfield number 2, Marcel Oakley, to be replaced by number 14, Rico Patterson.
Marcel Oakley off, Rico Patterson onto the field. Made quite a few changes quite quickly here, Blues. Try and force a way back into it.
It's interesting, I think sometimes it settles a team when you make changes like that just shortly after half time, after you've done the team talk. But you know, this may be in the plan. Some players might be back off on recovery. You know, it's for development, so coach's discretion.
Yeah, certainly didn't waste any time, quarter of an hour. But it might just be a sign as well of a little bit of frustration that Blues haven't had anywhere near the levels of control they had in the first period.
No, I think it's been scrappy. I think they've given us the ball back quite a lot, and I think our press has been pretty strong on the whole.
Well, that's not something you see every day. A battle between Perry and Walker. Walker fell on the ball and grabbed it, and Thomas Parsons said, "You can't do that. That's handball."
No, you don't. I was literally double taking them when he gave. I thought he was going to give the free kick to Birmingham City.
There's Tipton. Lembakisa. Just starting to feel like the longer this goes on, might be an opportunity for Wolves to get the next goal and almost kill things off. London Keeler finding Patterson. Williams for Soldevilla. Foot in by Marquez.
Yeah, well stepped in there.
Just read the play really well, Christian Marquez. That's the key element to his game.
And that's what you need in his position. You know, he can see everything from centre half. You can see the bigger picture, knowing when and where to step in, and obviously the three of them working together to make sure that, you know, they've got the support and the shape right.
Still only 19. Effectively been captain of the 23s since he was 17. Space for Lewis, but across came Hubner.
A little bit naive from Ollie Tipton there. I think he did a brilliant job to step in, and under pressure possibly could have come back in and kept possession for us.
Brandon Keeler. Kane Thompson. Lewis. Keeler. Wakefield is option. Support from Soldevilla. He's ran a long way and put an inviting ball in, and a clever header away by Justin Hubner.
It's a good play, wasn't it? He literally was gliding through the defence there. Decent ball into the box, but well dealt with.
Barry Walker getting set to take. Soldevilla is there as an option short for him. Wolves have everybody back defending. Soldevilla to whip it into the danger zone, and Hubner challenged. Sondergaard followed the ball. Lembakisa. Well, Wolves won't just knock it downfield for the sake of it. Sometimes, I think there are a few that maybe watched it, wish that they would.
Yeah, I think sometimes there's a time and a place, isn't there? I think there's a case to say maybe there were a little bit of overplay there, and we needed to get that ball out to the centre back to then play out the other side. But it's great to see him with confidence on the ball and trying it, because the amount of tight spaces you'll see the first team in at points, and you watch the men's team and really can't believe they get out of some of the situations they do, and it's getting composure and being comfortable on the ball.
Brown switching the play. Lewis. Looking for the run of Patterson, but cross came Marquez. And he is, I'll say, he's shaping up to be an impressive defender, Christian Marquez. There's a lot to like about the way he plays the game. One disappointing loan spell is not the end of the world.
Oh, he's very much still young enough to really make his mark on the game. He's great in possession, composed, reads the game really well as well, so it's really good to see him tonight.
That'll be it for Taylor Perry. Just making his way back. He's got through a decent chunk there, Taylor Perry.
Looks like Ollie Tipton's moved into the midfield.
Yeah, Kemkane Dola into the role that he played on Friday against Swansea. He's suffering with a bit of cramp in that game. And too has had his injury issues this season. There's Lembakisa.
He was after a little nutmegs there, wasn't he?
Griffis. Candola for Christian Marquez. That's a very good ball to pick out Lembakisa. I say, Harvey Griffis is in that situation whereby everyone seems to talk about the midfielders in the first team squad and maybe the lack thereof of numbers. The way he keeps going at the moment, maybe people need to think about him in that kind of shake-up. He is there as a backup option, and here he is again. Birtwistle trying to force his way through. Just enough numbers back there in blue shirts, but look at the speed of Birtwistle to recover.
It's a shame that ball didn't get back through to Griffiths there, because I think he was involved in 3 phases of that play, and that would have been really superb. He's just so composed. His composure, I think he's really grown into the game tonight. Looking much more composed on the ball, offering himself at all points.
A bit too heavy, that pass back by Birtwistle to Harkin. Say that is the point of having a strong group of under-23 players. We've seen Dexter Lembakisa be on the substitutes bench, Chem Campbell, and well, Luke Cundall is now officially first team squad, having made that step up and officially getting a seat in the main dressing room at Compton. But still play the occasional under-23 game.
That's great to see, isn't it? Luke Cundall will be the role model for these guys to say, look, this is what can happen. He's an under-23s player, but he's very much established himself. And although he hasn't had masses of game time, I think you know, he's integral from all the things that you hear in terms of training and the things that he can do as well. So I'm sure we'll be seeing much more of him in the future.
And then Keeler dispossessed by Tipton. It's a free kick from Patterson. Yeah, well, Cundall following the footsteps of Max Kilman, who followed in the footsteps of Morgan Gibbs-White. That's just 3 players in what, the last 4 or 5 years?
And all 3 have still got, you know, potential to, looking at what Gibbs-White's doing at Sheffield United, although he's obviously, you know, had his injury, still got the potential to affect the first team.
Sanderson, Giles, all operating in the Championship.
And all the things that you read about both of those players, I think Dion Sanderson was pretty unlucky not to get on in that Sheffield United game. It was so close for him to come on, and it would have been a nice story, but he's been loaned out, him and Giles, loaned out to a brilliant standard where he's playing in a potential promotion winning teams in the Championship. So what a great opportunity for them to show that they can mix it up at the top end of the Championship, you know, and then step up to the Premier League if we need it.
Well, that was a little bit loose by Marquez, and clumsy challenge by Hubner. Wolves just gave a little bit of a gift there to Blues in playing around with it a touch too much in a deep area.
Yeah, it was a clear trick, wasn't it? You just hope we're not punished for a silly mistake.
Some height in that wall. 5. Trying to block the route to Sondergaard's right-hand post as he looks at things. Soldevilla and Walker are the 2 stood over the ball. Who will get responsibility? It's the captain who goes for it, and he wasn't far off.
I think Sondergaard had it covered, didn't he? But like you say, just literally just past the post.
Yeah, would have taken something special to beat him on his side.
Yeah, I think he got his angles all right, hadn't he, as well, so good keeping, really. Didn't dive across just to make the save, just for the cameras, so...
That's Cam Candola. So going back to that discussion about the players that are out on loan. As Hodnett tries to release Harkin. Brown across in front of him. There's that element that were Wolves to go out and try and sign players with the experience now of the likes of Kilman, Sanderson, Giles, Morgan Gibbs-White. Probably talking what, £100 million worth of players for the amount of games they've played in the Championship.
I think so, potentially. I think the Giles story is particularly interesting, with, you know, the things that Bruno said about him in terms of what he can bring to the team, and, you know, not quite wanting to let him go in some respects.
There's Birtwistle trying to use his speed. Ball's a little bit loose by Hubner, but they're generally dictating the terms. Looks like there might be a double change coming. It's like Nathan Fraser and Owen Farmer getting ready.
We're on to Wonder Summer Shooter, leaving the field number 7, Harvey Griffith, replaced by number 17, Nathan Fraser. Also leaving the field number 9, Lee McLaughlin, replaced by number 16, Owen Farmer.
Lee Harkin being replaced. Owen Farmer, another of those who's impressed in the under-18s, gets his opportunity to step up a level. He's been in and around the squad without really getting much chance to get on the field, but no time like the present. Nathan Fraser, who is a completely different type of forward. Both of them are only 16, by the way, Farmer and Fraser.
It's unreal, isn't it, that when you think about they could be playing with lads against lads that are 7 years older than them. It's brilliant. It's a great story.
This is a great run here. They all nearly found its way to Fraser. Tipton and then Kayla. A little bit too keen to try and rob him of possession. Well, Fraser did get a goal. Well, we gave him the goal on Friday. I've seen some still images, Claire, that suggest maybe it wasn't quite as on target as he certainly thinks it was. But I can tell you, Nathan Fraser is definitely claiming it.
It looked like a great finish from the Swansea centre half. He fired it into that top left corner.
He did, yeah.
But I'm pretty sure it was over the line.
Quite the delivery Wolves needed that time. Well intercepted though. Right. And Candola.
Yeah, there were 4 on 4 there, so that was a great interception.
I was saying Fraser can definitely get a goal tonight. That'll give him that boost. It's good energy from he and Farmer having just come on. So it's a nice story, Nathan Fraser. He was saying this, born in Tetnall. The ability of being that local meant that last summer he pretty much spent his summer in every day at Compton on his own, just with a football, doing whatever work he could. He's done an awful lot of work with Darius Vassell, the former Villa and Man City striker who works in the Wolves Academy, try and develop his game. And here we are, halfway through the season, his first year as a scholar, and he's getting regular game time with the under-23s.
I think it's the bigger picture as well, isn't it? With some of these lone guys going off, they get a great experience, but also some of the 16s and 18s get to step up as well and have an equally great experience. It's, you know, it's really interesting to see the pathway that's being created for Wolves.
Well, here he is, trying to make a nuisance for himself in that corner area. Strange, isn't it, really? The second half just hasn't got going. First half was really intriguing, well balanced. Blues have a lot of the ball. Wolves having to dig in defensively.
I think, like you say, it's just a little bit scrappy, isn't it? It's lost its way a little bit. I think we're still on top in the game, but no real clear-cut chances as such to talk about. And obviously we want to get good periods and good spells of possession. Sometimes the subs unsettle the game as well a little bit, don't they? Even for both sides, that stop-start, and obviously there was the Burt Whistle head injury as well, so a lot of stop-start in this second half, and I think that's maybe making it seem a little bit more disjointed as well.
This is Lewis, Candola in with the interception. pull it back for Wolves free kick. Had been on a decent run, Blues, until they were beaten by Fulham last time out in Premier League 2. No disgrace in that. Fulham are a long way clear at the top of the table. Though a lot of their players have gone out on loan in January, and Carvalho, who's been one of the star players, is now very much a first teamer. Offside flag up against Fraser. Things do change. There's Farmer.
You can really see that desire, can't you, from him? You know, he's got it just rings of, you know, he's playing in front of a decent crowd and making the most of the opportunity, and it's fantastic to see.
He's been in the club since he was 14. Sounds more impressive than it was. It's only been 2 years.
He's only 16.
Oh, so young. It's from Solihull, Owen Farmer. This is where I'm from.
It's definitely posh there.
At his age, I was sneaking into Rosie's nightclub.
I hope he won't be doing that. Sneaking into Compton training ground for an extra workout. That'll be it.
I don't think it's called Rosie's anymore. I think it's been Rosie's for a long time.
Just a couple of years back there, right?
Yeah. Hodnett placing the ball carefully. Blues everybody back. Hodnett's delivery. Headed away by Brown. Candola tried to get a foot in on it to try and delay the attack, and I think he did just enough, but here comes Williams, and suddenly Blues have options pouring forwards. Patterson, heavy touch, and it's Hubner who takes responsibility to clear.
Yeah, I think Sondergaard was coming out to collect it, but I think he was just a little bit late to the party there, wasn't he? I think Hubner better not to risk it in that situation.
Blues still trying to build. Maybe try and get a bit more momentum into their play. Thompson gets it back from Lewis. Deception by Hubner. And Farmer during the free kick. That's quite clever from Owen Farmer.
Yeah, I think he protected the ball well. He had nowhere to go really, either, and only Lemberkey so that he'd slot the ball back to, and probably wasn't quite visible for him. So he's done well to win a free kick and get us possession back. I think Blues have had a couple of better spells, getting a little bit more possession into the final third, but their final ball just seems to let them down, and you know, they gifted it back to us, which is perfect. But we need to have some better possessions ourselves and take the game to them a little bit more if we can.
Farmer won't quite reach that. Thompson there ahead of Lemberkisa. Brandon Keeler holding off Tipton. Fogarty for Thompson. Will maybe start to be more urgency about Blues play.
I think it might help us in a way, hadn't it? If they open up and try and push on to get a goal, we might be able to expose some of the holes they're leaving behind. I think Nathan Fraser at the moment is doing a lot of work for no outcome. He's not had much possession of the ball, but he's putting a hell of a graft in terms of chasing the ball.
Walker trying to get Thompson away. Flag stayed down. Cam Candola with a foot in. Walker trying to spot the movement of Soldevia, but Sondergaard is there comfortably.
I think if we can force Blues into getting balls in from that kind of angle, that that'll play into our hands. I think Marquez and Hubner have dealt pretty well with balls like that into the box.
Tell you elsewhere, it's Forest 4, Villa 1, Reading 1, Stoke 1, and Albion 0, Southampton 1. As Dexter Lembakisa, I think, is penalised for a foul throw.
I think he stepped onto the pitch. He took it virtually a yard into the pitch.
Walker, the pressure put on him by Fraser. Hubner clear. That's a clever chest down for Hodnett, and Farmer will take over. Now Nathan Fraser spotted the movement of Griffiths. What a good effort. Really good effort. That was neat interplay.
Yeah, great play between the front three, wasn't it there? And eventually finishing with a great shot as well from Griffiths.
Well, he's already had one tonight. Not far away from a second. That surely would have killed the game off. We saw there again, Claire, though, Blues have to commit more forwards. And it will leave those little pockets of space.
We're hoping now last 4 minutes or so, maybe one more opportunity coming our way, but what you really don't want to do at this stage is concede a late goal. The defensive line will definitely want their clean sheet, as well as Sondergaard. It's still a local derby, Wolves will definitely want to win this and see it through.
Soldevia for Thompson. Justin Hubner was screaming at his defensive teammates to push up there. And then Keeler for Thompson. Closed down by Farmer.
Definitely don't want to be sitting too deep and giving them the opportunity to get in there and obviously play around us.
There's Farmer again. His only previous Premier League 2 appearance was as a late sub away at Reading early in the campaign. Griffis. That's a good ball in. Fraser on the turn. It was well read in the end by Fogarty. Could see what he was trying to do, but crucially, so did Fogarty.
Yeah, definitely. I think he read the situation well, the defender. But it was great play from Griffiths, joining in and breaking through into the final third again to put another good ball in the box. I think he's had a great game today, and I think he's really developed as the game's gone on.
You and I saw Amber Hughes score one for Wolves women against West Brom the other week in a similar type of setup. That kind of initial touch, turn and find the bottom corner.
And it's what you want to see. It's simple football, really, isn't it?
She got 2 yesterday, didn't she?
She did, yeah. 2 great goals for her. 5 in total. 5-0 win for Wolves women and a clean sheet, which is fantastic.
Absolutely flying. Dan McNamara's team. Good to watch as well, it has to be said.
Yeah, brilliant. I think top of the league, unbeaten. No one for sure wants to get carried away, but they're in a great opportunity and in some respects overachieving, but doing brilliantly. Thompson's
ball. Marquez header. Tipton in control in midfield. Candola forwards. Farmer had time to control and turn. In stepped Tommy Fogarty. Keeler for Walker. Under pressure from Lembakisa, forcing him backwards.
I think you can really see some tired legs out there now, can't you? Lembakisa looking like he's a little bit tired.
Well, Hugo Bueno's not tired. He's driving on. Fraser pulling to his left-hand side. Here's Nathan Fraser. Big opportunity. What a finish! What a start to his under-23s career for Nathan Fraser. Potentially dubious goal on Friday. Nothing dubious about that.
There's no question on that one at all. It was a brilliant finish. Fantastic run driving into the box from Hugo Bueno, and he's managed to just drop slightly off the defender's shoulder there, Fraser, and what a fantastic finish. There's brilliant composure, and there was no doubt. You can almost see him scoring before he even hit it.
Minimum 5 minutes added time. That's a minimum 5 minutes added time.
5 minutes to be added on, but the game is there for Wolves now. It's a brilliant break by Hugo Bueno. Wonderful, wonderful breakthrough. And then the composure to look up and play it into the path of Fraser. And it's a striker's dream on his stronger foot, able to open his body out and find the bottom corner.
Yeah, it was the perfect position for him, and I think the fact that he just had a sighter and had a chance just before that, but he's not had actually much possession actually in this game, but that's a sign of a great striker. He's not had masses of the ball, but when the opportunity came, he finished it off. He missed the one just before it, but still had the confidence to take that one on, and it's a fantastic finish right into the bottom corner.
Oh, look at Farmer reading the play. The Wolves might not be finished here. Hodnett. Fraser calling for it. Hodnett driving on. It's Hodnett! He couldn't keep it down. It was a little touch on it on the way through. It's a Wolves corner. Goalkeeper, I think, just fingertips.
Again, that was brilliant from Owen Farmer, wasn't it? Another 16-year-old doing great work, keeping the ball, winning it back when he really shouldn't, and then keeping possession as well, not panicking on the ball. So, really good play from Hodnett.
Say, well, Blues were on top for large periods of the first half, but once Wolves got themselves in front, it was much more even. Maybe just about edged it. No doubt, second half, Wolves have been the better team. Might not necessarily have needed that second goal, but now they have the cushion. They're threatening a third. Not quite with that set piece, but it's Fraser who sets it back for Hodnett. Couldn't get it in a second time.
I think they deserve the lead though, don't they? Like you say, I think we've been dominant throughout, and Blues have been pretty poor in the final third. They're giving the ball away quite a lot, and I think we've looked after it well.
Fraser holding it up in the corner. He's out his team a throw.
I think seeing the game through to a clean sheet now is the final aim, isn't it?
Yeah, a very professional job being done tonight. They will close the gap in, and say Fulham are going to win the Premier League 2 Division 2. They are so far ahead of everybody else, but the playoff positions are still up for grabs. And a good second half of the season, albeit with a much younger, untested squad for James Collins' team. It's not beyond the realms of possibility they can get themselves in that promotion shake-up for the second year in a row.
I think they're building a little bit of momentum, aren't they, as well, unbeaten in 2022, and you know, continuing on, the confidence builds, and lots of different players getting their minutes as well and taking their opportunities.
Fogarty to Brown. Brandon Keeler. Walker. Thompson's ball forwards. Cam Candola. He's looked pretty assured since he came on. Farmer penalised with an arm. Thomas Parsons insisting he goes back a couple of yards.
Those 2 yards make a difference. Changes the angle, look.
Well, it might do with the big boys coming forwards from the back. Walker's delivery. Again, it was a Wolves header, got it clear. Lewis. Griffiths goes into challenge and comes away with the ball. Hodnett didn't quite give it up. Remember, Matchday Live Extra back on Thursday night. We are extended to 45 minutes before kick-off. And Wolverhampton Wanderers start the week with a victory for the under-23s. Harvey Griffis with his second Premier League 2 goal of the campaign, following up a Christian Marquez header in the first half. And Nathan Fraser will call it 2-2. What an impact the 16-year-old is having off the bench, set up by Hugo Bueno. Calmly curled it into the bottom corner. James Collins' team, despite a tricky opening 2025, in full control for long periods of it. And he will be very happy, Claire Hakeman.
Yeah, I think so. I think the game plan went perfectly. Obviously the clean sheet and a couple of goals as well. I think Harvey Griffis was superb throughout. I think he was in control, he grew into the game. I think possibly when Taylor Perry went out, we faded a little bit for a little spell and then came back strong at the end, which is fantastic. And Lembakisa as well, and Marquez meeting most of the set pieces first time. So I was thinking it was a really pleasing game and a great result for the team.
It's nice to see Harvey Griffiths is down in front of us having some photos with friends and family. An impressive performance from him. What are you making of his progression, really? He looks a talent, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does, a hell of a player, and I think, like you said before, I think there's very much any chance that he could be competing for pushing on, and Bruno Lage, I'm sure, will be keeping an eye on his progress. He's got the real stature, he travels well with the ball, he's composed with the ball. I think he's got every chance of breaking in next year, whether they look for loan signings for him or involve him in the first team squad. But there's so much bags of potential there, and it'd be great to see his progress through the years.
Claire, thank you very much for keeping me company tonight. It's been great to see Wolves get a victory, and hopefully it all continues. The FA Youth Cup on Saturday, remember, at Molineux. A lot of these players will be involved then. We'll see you then.